Hey creatives, here's the thing. You can have all the creative systems in the world, but if your money is a mess, you're still stuck in chaos mode. Trust me. And the core group gets this. They understand it. They work exclusively with creatives, and they know that financial overwhelm kills your creative energy faster than anything. Whether you need basic tax help or full CFO level strategy, they will meet you where you are and help you build sustainable financial systems. The profit first approach means that you actually pay yourself first instead of hoping that there's enough money left over at the end, right? So head to coregroupus.com and let them help you create financial clarity today. You know how sometimes you have the perfect project laid out, you get all the way to the end of execution, and then you realize there was a technical glitch? Man, don't you wish you had some capacity planning and some margin in there to make up for that lost time? That happened to me this week. So if you're watching online, you're wondering why I'm recording from my iPhone this time, it's because I had some technical difficulties with an episode that I already recorded. Let's get into it.
Taking creatives from chaos to clarity.
Welcome back to Creativity Made Easy, the podcast for creative professionals who want to scale their business without losing their minds. I'm Dustin P., the creative consultant and owner of Chief Creative Consultants, and I'm here to help creative professionals know themselves, their process, and their team so that they can create with clarity together. Yeah, that's right. I recorded this whole episode and went to go edit it for y'all. And turns out, no audio whatsoever. I'm hoping this time is different, or else it's pretty clear that you don't need to hear this message. So it's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode today. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas anyway, but I want to just tell you briefly about something that's rolling around in my mind, and we're starting to kind of beta test with some clients a little bit, and that is capacity planning. Now, we talk a lot about margin on this show. We talk about making sure that we have plenty of margin to be creative for the things that come in that we're not expecting, yada, yada, yada. But I was recently hanging out with some clients of the Culture Base, another consulting firm that I co-own with two other partners. And we were talking with some of our clients who were in the manufacturing field. And they were telling us about this concept of capacity planning, that they have all that stuff planned out of what they can take on at any given time. And it kind of hit me as I was sitting there listening to them talking. I was like, why don't creatives have capacity planning? Why don't agencies have capacity planning to know how much they can take on without burning down everybody on the staff and having zero margin to be creative at all? And that's what we've always talked about on this show, right? Having the margin to be creative, having the margin to not burn you and your team out constantly. So it really got me thinking, what could it look like if we start capacity planning for creative agencies? And there's some things that I've started thinking about that I wanted to kind of just run by you today. I know we're gearing up for the holiday season, and we're all going to be kind of taking some time off, but let's just think through this together during our time off of why does capacity planning matter, and what would that look like for us on our creative teams and in our agencies. I think understanding our capacity directly correlates with that margin and creativity, because without capacity planning, you can't really implement our do versus do strategy, which we've mentioned several times on this podcast before, but that builds in the margin that we need. And so essentially what I'm getting at here in the conversations that I'm having with our clients right now is, what's the actual capacity for of time that you can have collectively as a team, but also the individual parts of the team. And so a few things I want to walk through here that I don't want to miss. I am looking up in my notes because I don't want to miss this at all. So the first thing I want to talk about is, in order for us to have a good sense of what our team's capacity is, we have to have real data. And we can't find that real data without actually tracking it. And so I've started using Harvest. It's a time tracking tool. There's Clockify and Toggle and all sorts of ones that work But literally every task I do throughout the day, I make sure I'm time tracking. I'm not tracking it because I'm trying to be strict with who gets what hours and things. I'm literally tracking it because I want to know how long does it take me to do these things. Not an estimate, because when we estimate, we tend to either overestimate or underestimate. And when someone says, "Hey, how long do you think it'll be to edit this project?" And you go, "Oh, no problem. You can do that probably like an hour or two." And next thing you know, it's taking you the entire day. That's capacity planning. Or someone says, "How long would it take you to show up and maybe give us 2 or 3 concepts for this type of logo variation that we're looking for?" You'd be like, "Oh man, 2 or 3 concepts, logo variation. I mean, we're talking like a good week. I don't know." And that's you guessing, right? It's overestimating or underestimating your time. And so what we want to do is we want to track that time using some type of time tracker. I don't care if you use just like a $6 time tracker that you found on Amazon.com, or what you use, a stopwatch. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as you're tracking it and you can start to see over time, okay, it takes me, and on average, it takes me this much time. So let's just take a task. Let's say on average, it takes you 2 hours for some logo concepts. What I'm going to suggest is this margin buffer of 20%. So if you take that 2 hours and you go, okay, I can multiply this up, and this is how many hours I have together all week. I have this many hours together all week. I want you to subtract 20% from that. And mathematically, you can just multiply it times 0.8, right? So if you had, let's say, 10 hours of capacity for this particular task in your week, and you multiply that times 0.8, you're going to get 8 hours. So what I'm saying is, yeah, you might have 10 hours, but let's plan for 8 hours, because we all know that margin is going to get eaten up. And if we don't plan for that margin to get eaten up, when it does get eaten, when something comes in, it's going to totally be a catastrophe amongst your entire process. So add up all that energy, add up all that time, track your time, add the 20% buffer in, and then do the same thing for your team. And then when you take on new client work, don't be so quick to say yes and give a hard DUE date. If you need to convene with your team for a second to understand full capacity after you've gotten the scope of the project, then take that extra time, take that extra day or couple of hours, and figure that out before you say yes. Creatives, we love to say yes. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. But what you're doing is you're sabotaging your margin, and you're sabotaging your ability to serve your clients with excellence. And so these are the things I'm thinking about when it comes to capacity planning. I'm thinking about how to kind of, what does it look like for us to kind of lay out our time visually? Is it a spreadsheet? Is it some kind of software dashboard? I know manufacturing companies have software already in place for capacity. So I'm really just starting to play around on what that looks like in a creative agency or solo creative concept. So if you have any thoughts on this, whatsoever, I would love to hear from you. Hit me up, dp@dustinpeed.com, or you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn @DustinPeed. And tell me what you think about this. Tell me what you think about this concept. Would capacity planning for you or for your agency or for your creative department team, would it be helpful? And if so, what are the things that you really want to see? This is something that I'm committing to in 2026, is really helping us all with our capacity planning, and I want to help you with it as well. So think about it over this break. I am going to be with you in your inbox on Christmas Day with a short Christmas message as well. But I wanted to share this with you right now so I can get you thinking about it as we continue this conversation in the new year. We'll have one more episode left this year, then we're going to take a break for the new year week, and then we'll be back the week after, continuing our episodes from there. But just a reminder, you can find all my free resources at dustinpeed.com/free. Think about this capacity planning thing, because I think it could really be a game changer for all of us. I'd love to hear from you. Email me, dp@dustinpeed.com. That's DUSTINPEAD.com. Y'all have an amazing week. Get everything done that you need to get done, and let's enter into the holidays with a season of rest. Talk to y'all next time.